Hi, my name is Brad Emery, and I'm here to provide a little bit of explanation for my artifact for Standard 2.2, following under the banner of Ethics and Professional Norms. This is, I have evaluated ethical decisions of issues. We've had quite a bit of opportunity to do this year with COVID, and recently I was handed down the perfect opportunity to go over an ethical issue and an opportunity to evaluate that through my association with our district leadership team at the school. So Kansas just came down about a month ago, not even, a couple of weeks ago, in which they made a new law that takes effect and requires districts to analyze and take a look at all of their existing COVID practices and procedures and routines and expectations, as well as taking a hold of any new procedures based around the global pandemic and ask school districts to make sure that they are following the least restrictive means to keep students safe and allow them to learn. I know in bigger districts this certainly affected remote learning and online schooling and in-person schooling. Thankfully for us, we've had the opportunity to do in-person schooling all year this year, except for families who are choosing to learn in a remote hybrid environment. So I actually have 3 of those students who are learning from home and operate in a hybrid of online and participating with our class via a virtual classroom. And then I have another 21 students who are in my classroom physically and have had that opportunity all year. So where this really hit our school is we've required masks for students in 5th through 12th grade for this year. And we realized when that law came out, this is going to change our policy. It's going to affect what parents can or are willing to do, especially with prom coming up. And prom just happened on April 10th, so yesterday, as of the point in time that I'm recording this video. And we had to assess and look at, can we still say that masks are the least restrictive requirement based on the health and data that we have available from our county and from our school district. So as far as ethics, this really hit it on the head. You've got this health and safety concern balanced against students' ability to learn and still to be able to provide the least restrictive environment. This new law requires us to justify any decisions we're making, including wearing masks. And so our superintendent gathered us together as a leadership team and had us take a look at this. You can see our survey that he sent out to the entire school district staff. And let me just zoom in on this so you can see that a little bit better. So he had 2 simple questions. If the board were to change the current masks policy, wording for masks are required or highly recommended. I'm 100% supportive of this change. A bit concerned, but supportive. Not supportive, but I can live with it, or 100% against the change. We had 57 responses. We've got about 70 staff members that this was sent out to. So we're right in that 80% range of responses, and some of those staff members are bus drivers and janitorial staff who either have a language barrier or don't have a lot of technology experience, and so may or may not have seen this beforehand. So we got a pretty good sampling of our small district here. You can see that almost 75% were either supportive or at least they might have some concerns, but they were primarily supportive of this change. Then we had another just shy of 10%, almost 9%, that can live with the change even though they weren't supportive. Then we had about 20% who were against this change. So the other question that tied in there is, if this policy were to change to optional masks, what would you do as an educator, as a staff member? Would you always wear a mask in the building? We had about 25% say yes. Would you wear a mask in certain situations? And obviously you can see that's the bulk of our teachers saying, in some situations I'm going to wear a mask. And then go without a mask nearly all of the time is 26%. The interesting part about all this data is spoiler, we have made this change, and I would say that the majority of the teachers are going without a mask most of the time. Now, the challenge in all of this was both ethically and, well, mainly ethically, but certainly from the perspective of now we've got opinions, we have teachers' perspectives, and we've asked for that. What are we going to do with that data we've gathered? We've now asked people for their opinions, and we cannot meet everybody's opinions. So how do you merge that into a way that promotes unity, that brings us together, and ends up with a decision that's both ethically responsible and kind and respectful of all the opinions while meeting the needs of your entire community? So this is really a conundrum that we were faced with here, and the fact of the matter is, when we looked at the law and asked the question, can we require the masks? Can we explain that as a necessary policy and truly the least restrictive environment? When we looked at the data in our county, in our district, there are no active cases in our county, no active cases in the counties surrounding ours. So realistically, we just said we can't require this policy, and we wouldn't want to, because it's truly not the least restrictive policy to require masks at this point. Now, I certainly was concerned and brought this up with changing the policy to highly recommended, because ethically I want to make sure that I'm setting an example for kids and modeling what I want them to do. So from a safety perspective, if we're highly recommending masks but not requiring them, should I be wearing a mask as a teacher, as an example, as a model? And likewise, I certainly would want to wear a mask if I've got at least one student who desires, or their family wants them to wear a mask, to be supportive and offer them an opportunity to see that another person is doing that as well, so they don't feel like they are singled out. Ultimately, some of these ethical questions we were wrestling with of what about that student who does feel singled out because they and their family feel it's important to wear a mask, and all the other kids are not? Are they going to make fun of them? And the real challenge with this survey of that 100% who are, the 20% who are 100% against the change, who would be completely against changing the mask policy. So in talking through this issue together, we decided the best way we can handle that to meet that least restrictive requirement was to provide N95 masks at the cost of the school to those individuals who still desired to have a mask, to highly recommend it. And then as far as what that looks like modeling an example for your students, that's going to be up to individual teachers and their best judgment. So we're relying on teachers to make strong ethical choices and to set an example for students that will show them that their choices are respected, that we want to keep them safe, that we want to keep them healthy, but that they have a little more freedom now and a little more options since we have reevaluated and decided the least restrictive option is to do without masks. And I'm pleased to announce that we did make this change, and it's gone very smoothly. Students have been very happy to get rid of those masks. Parents have been supportive. Community school members have been supportive. And we have had good examples of ethical and responsible responses from staff and teachers. We've got some that still wear them, whether for personal desire or to set a good example and give students a sense of companionship and camaraderie, that's what I was going for, with others wearing masks. And then most students have chosen not to. As I mentioned in my class, I've got 3 students who are still at home learning, and so those are the ones that I would have expected to choose to continue wearing masks. So it's worked out really smoothly. All in all, though, I was really excited. Maybe that's not the right word. Maybe I shouldn't have been, but I was excited to have this pop up right here as I'm finishing up my e-portfolio and looking at that idea of evaluating an ethical decision, because this was a great opportunity to look at a real-world ethical decision that affects our students primarily the secondary students, since they were the ones who were required to wear it. In elementary, it was just recommended. But I really liked being a part of that, and it really did make me think, what is the best decision, and made me consider this issue in a way that I wouldn't have otherwise. So this is my explanation video. Once again, the standard I was looking at and comparing all this to is the NELP Standard 2, looking at ethics and professional norms. This is 2.2, and we are looking at evaluating the ethical decisions of issues. Thank you for your time.